All right, so one thing that I have not done a bunch of is showing all the presets that I have put on my new Mooer GE300. I've had it about a year now. I got it just before the COVID hit. So I've used it now probably about little under 10 gigs and a lot of time with it to learn how it works. So I'll just kind of go through some of my favorite patches that I've made and how they sound. This is one that I use often. It's a basic, plexi into a 4x12 IR, playing a Fender Strat, as you can see. Bridge. Roll the treble off a little bit there. I mean, for classic rock, I use this one a lot, and I've programmed it so I've got a DoD 250 in front that I can punch in and out when needed. That's without it, and with it. And a little slap back, or, whatever. I've got it on tap tempo so I can make it longer. And I can take the delay out with that, and I've got it set up in the mode so the four bottom ones change the patches, and the top four are the control buttons, so I can punch things in and out. So now we're back to the original, and the patch just has the plexi cabinet, some EQ, and reverb. Use it all the time. Next one I'm walking through, this is a Fender Twin IR on it. And again, the IRs are ones that I found on the internet for free. Didn't pay for the IRs that I played so far. I will call it out. We get to a few here where I sampled my own amps. So this one is a Twin 2x12 speaker cabinet. I've got a compressor in front. That's how you get that. Bridge. And it's got a little distortion that I can punch in when needed. And again, that attaches a delay to it. Because typically when I'm using this patch and I punch in a distortion, it's some kind of solo. Use that one a lot. The band I'm in, we do a lot of U2 covers, so it's inevitable that I'm going to have the super U2 delay thing. So this one has two delays. There's a short delay and then a tap tempo delay. So it gets that... So it definitely captures that tap tempo, so I can change it. A lot of distortion. This is a Vox into a 212. And I don't believe that's an IR. I think that's the built-in IR, and it's got the distortion. Use that one a whole lot in the band that I'm in now. These are some non-Marshall, at least the next three. I don't even remember what amp this is, but I kind of like the sound of it. So I kind of use these for variety when I don't want to use that plexi sound. This one has a distortion in front. And I I don't have the delay attached to it, but I can do that. You can hear it's a little lower than solo stuff. All right, so taking that out, and it's got a chorus. Another one I use a lot. Okay, so I take it back. It's another Marshall. This is my kind of AC/DC, so let me cut the humbucker on in my Strat here. So works best for humbuckers. Again, another Plexi. This one's pretty basic. I do have a distortion I can punch in, and it has a little delay. All right, next one. This is another one of these variety, so I'm not using a Plexi for everything. This is a VHT with a Klone in front, so it's a Klone distortion. That's clean. I've got I think it's like a tube screamer to give it just a little bit of grit so the Klone really sticks well. Let's take it out of humbucker mode here and roll off the treble. So that's kind of my preferred. It's got a plate reverb, which I kind of like. Okay, so we got the slight distortion. So see the difference when you punch in that Klone. Yeah, I like how that sounds. Most of the things that I model, I've got the ping pong delay. That's a little. I've got most of the pedals that are in the class that I emulate with the GE300, but I don't like to go to gigs and do tap dancing. So it's really convenient for me to take the GE300 and it's dialed in pretty close to what it sounds like with all my pedals and tube amps. Like that ping pong. Let's see. So we'll skip that one. I don't want to spend too much time because I could spend hours kind of going through this thing. It's a really great effects pedal, modeling, everything, except for some weak points. One thing that is a positive is that you can go and I think they call it capture, but basically you're sampling an amp. So this preset right here, let me play it for you. Stick the humbucker. So that one has a captured cabinet that I used. I've got an old Laney AOR amp from the 1980s, and if you're a former user or you've got one, man, they're great amps for kind of hard rock stuff. Anyway, so I still have the cabinet from it. The amp got fried about a decade ago. So the cabinet has Fane 12-inch speakers that have a very distinct sound. So that cabinet on this patch is the sampled Laney Fane speaker in a closed cabinet. But it's definitely got that, that hard rock. And you can see the only thing on this patch program is the delay, because everything else is there. So that is a killer patch, and the thing that really makes it killer for me is that I was able to take that Laney cabinet that I had and capture it into this thing, so it sounds like I'm playing it through my Laney. Let's kind of keep it brief here. So one more I use a lot here. This is it's an acoustic simulation. But what I've done here, let me take the humbucker off, is put a pitch transposer on it and took it up an octave to make it sound like a 12-string. All right, yeah, I'll get kicked out of a music store, didn't I? And and I've got a pretty big reverb that's subtle in the background. We use this a lot in the cover band, and I use it for my... Use that one a lot. It's an acoustic, so it has like an acoustic simulator. Not a lot going on there. I'm going to talk about one great thing with the GE300, and then we'll hit on a negative on it. So this is one that we use on some police tunes that we do. So you can hear that's an Echoplex. The tape kind of disintegrates as the repeats go. It's got a either stereo chorus or flanger. In this particular patch, I programmed it so I can put a kind of a slight distortion in front. And I can switch back and forth between a flanger and a chorus. It's kind of cool. But a great thing about the GE300 that is just mind-bogglingly better than other things that I've had. Before I had this, I had a couple of the Digitech RP series. I had an RP 1000. You know, it was great while I had it. One thing that was a limitation with the RP 1000 was kind of the reverbs and delays. The GE300 is just eons ahead of it. Just really lush sounding delays and reverb. They're great. So let's kind of pick on the GE300 here a little bit. So that is supposed to be a simulation of a Leslie rotating speaker cabinet. Those are not that great on the GE300. I find that the phase pedals and the Leslie simulations, Univibe, not that great. I thought they were better on the RP 1000. So not a showstopper. I do use them occasionally, but I have a pedal. I have a Nux Monterey Vibe. And I've got a big BYOC, what is it, a Phase Royal. Those two are fantastic phase kind of pedals. So I use those when I need to have a phaser. I mean, this is tolerable, this thing. And I've got it set so when I depress the foot switch or the expression pedal, it changes the speed. So it's all right, you know. As you can hear, the reverb's great. The amp sounds great. Phasers are definitely weak on this thing. So we'll end it on a positive one. This is a patch that I use for a U2 song. It's a Big Muff Fuzz, and I have a Big Muff Fuzz, so sat there and A/B the thing, and this is as close as I want to get on this, and I'm really happy with it. So let's take the delay off there for a second. It's a pretty good sounding Big Muff. huge reverb there. Again, the reverb on this thing is excellent. So that's a little sampling. All those are patches that I use. They're all ones that I created specifically for me. They work well with this guitar. This is a Fender Strat with noiseless pickups. It's got the S1 selector, so I can swap back and forth between a humbucker and a single coil. Really like the GE300. Can't say enough about how great it is, particularly for the amp simulations, the ability to capture the EQ and settings of other amps, like distortion pedals, cabinets, and I've really done a lot with the cabinets. I've got a few amps myself, so I pulled out my tube amps and kind of captured them so I can take them along in my GE300 without hauling a bunch of amps along. So overall, really like the GE300. There are some weak spots, like the one I just mentioned, which was the phasers. I don't think they're that great. I honestly think they were better in a lower price model like the RP1000. It has better phasers. So is that a deal breaker for you? I don't know. For me, it was not, because I've got pedals that I can bring, and having one or two extra pedals, that's fine with me. If I had to bring 10 extra pedals, maybe I don't need the GE300. But overall, really happy with how it sounds. I'm able to dial in exactly what I want. Let's go back to that first patch that I was playing for you. This is the Plexi. All right, so stay tuned for more. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I am probably going to do a lot more videos here where I kind of walk through things with the GE300. I am really happy with this thing. I can't see changing for another thing unless it, I don't know, plugs in my head and gives me the sound I want right out of my brain. But otherwise, it gives me almost everything that I want. It's leaps and bounds above any modeling pedal that I've had before this. It's reasonably priced. It comes with, the expression pedal. It's not like some of them where you have to spend a lot of money, you don't even get an expression pedal. The capture feature is pretty awesome. And another thing I'll go into in some further videos is the synthesizer. It is freaking awesome on the GE300. So if you're the kind of guitar player that wants to get a little bit outside of sampling and modeling amps, the synthesizer is the thing for you. It is awesome. It is beyond anything I've seen in a lot of these modeling things. A lot of them don't even have a sampler at all. Anyway, so stay tuned for more. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get more details. There will be more in the future on the GE300. Thanks a lot.